Good evening, everybody. Welcome and good evening to this session with Police Scotland. Tonight we are talking about online safety for families. So we are just letting everyone in from the waiting room just now, and we're expecting a few more people to come along. So just take your time getting in, getting yourself organised and settled. My name is Diane Delaney. I am the training associate here at Connect. I'm going to introduce a person from Police Scotland in a moment who's going to take you through this PowerPoint presentation on online safety for families. I want to just give you a wee bit of an overview about Connect. I know that not everybody here this evening is familiar with who we are here at Connect, so just a wee brief introduction about us. We are the only charity and membership organisation for parent groups across Scotland. We currently have 28 out of the 32 local authorities that take out a membership for their parent councils. So we do a lot of work with those 28 local authority members, supporting their parent councils and other parent groups. We're all about partnerships in education, ensuring the voice of parents is heard in all matters relating to education. So we do have a number of benefits and supports for our members. Some of them are listed there. If you are part of a school community that has a parent council and you are interested in becoming a member, or you're not too sure if you are a member, then there is contact details at the end of this PowerPoint. You can get in touch with us and we can certainly let you know. But we do have a variety of supports for parent council members across Scotland. Okay. So I'm just wanting to flash up this slide just now. We have a parents' charter on the go just now that we're asking all parents and carers across Scotland to read, sign and support. So Connect, believe it or not, has been in existence for nearly 80 years. So through that 80-year period, we have been championing the role of parents in education for all that time. So this charter has been created from thousands of interactions that we've had from parents and carers across Scotland. And from all these conversations, we have created 70 asks to improve Scottish education for all children. So please do have a look at that, read it, share it, and sign it. So now I'd like to get on to the best bit. So what's this session about? So this session in partnership with Police Scotland's Cybercrime Harm Prevention team is really about raising awareness about online safety for families. So online safety, it's a big topic just now. We see it in the news all the time. So we wanted to partner up with Police Scotland, as we did previously, to provide an opportunity for families to hear from Police Scotland about information. And we're talking tonight about children's media use and attitudes, maybe a bit about online risks for children, about images online gaming, a bit about artificial intelligence, and there will be some signposting for some help and support. So that's what we're covering tonight. So I'm just about to hand you over now to Police Scotland, and we have here this evening Detective Constable Ewan Ross from the Cybercrime and Fraud Prevention Specialist Crime Division. So he's going to take you through the rest of the presentation, and then I'll come back on at the end just to look and see if there are any questions. So I'm sure you will all join me in giving him a big welcome, and thank you so much for joining us this session this evening to share your wisdom and knowledge on this really important topic area of online safety for families. So over to you. Thanks, Ewan.
Thank you very much, Diane. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this presentation on keeping children safe online. This is the second of these events we've done in conjunction with Connect, and it's great to be invited back again. So yeah, I'm Ewan Ross, and I'm a detective in the Cybercrime and Fraud Prevention Unit. I'm based up in Aberdeenshire, but we're a national unit, and we do cover the whole country. As Diane said, online safety is a big topic just now, and it's in the media constantly. So the plan tonight is to give you around about a 35-minute PowerPoint presentation covering various online safety topics affecting children and young people. And after that, I'll do my very best to answer any questions that you may have. So hope tonight's session will be beneficial to you and it'll help improve you and your family's cyber resilience and help keep you all safer online. Next slide, please. To start with, I'd just like to play a short video. What would the story of Romeo and Juliet look like in the modern day? So it'd be star-crossed lovers, sending texts, sending snaps, and taking risks, all without their parents being aware. If you play the video, please. So I just play that video to emphasize that although technology and online world is always changing and it can be quite overwhelming, children and young people, they don't change. So just as when we were young, they're exploring those adolescent pressures, they're keeping up with friends, and they're creating their identities online. And the advice that we give our children in real life will also keep them safer in the online world. Next slide, please. So a lot of us will see our online lives and offline lives as two separate things, two separate identities. But for kids growing up today, they don't see it that way. Online life and offline life is just our life. And way back in 1990 now, the UK inventor Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web, and that's what has shaped the internet as we know it today. And to quote him, he said, "Humanity uses a web, and if you look at humanity, you'll see good and bad stuff." And the inference I take from that is that the online world, it was never designed with our kids' best interests in mind, but it's now a huge part of their everyday lives. We all rely on it. We use it for banking and to keep up with friends, to communicate, for leisure pursuits, for so many different things now in life. We need to be online. And we can connect online so much easier than ever before with computers, tablets, mobile phones. Even nowadays, you've got wearable tech like watches and AI sunglasses that you can use to connect online. And it's harder than ever to kind of disconnect and not be part of that online world. But it's also an amazing place and it's got lots of benefits for education, for making and maintaining friendships, leisure pursuits, and engaging with wider society. But it can be a double-edged sword, and it does come with very real risks, such as cyberbullying, cyber predators, radicalization. There's a vast array of frauds and scams out there, and also real concerns about loss of privacy. So it's really important that we understand what it's like for young people to grow up in this environment, in the online world, and we feel confident in helping those kids and supporting them to navigate it safely. Like I said, there are risks, but there's also a lot of good to be had from being in the online world. Next slide, please. So Ofcom, they're the UK regulator for communications services, and every year they produce a report on children's media use and attitudes. So I'm just going to mention some findings from the 2025 report. So the graph you can see on the slide here, that shows the top 5 communications apps and sites by age group. So you can see YouTube is quite consistently popular across all ages. But as kids get older, they more tend to gravitate towards apps which allow them to communicate and have that interaction with others. So WhatsApp, TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. Interestingly, two popular applications, Facebook and X, kids just barely use them at all. They just don't feature with younger age groups, despite their popularity with kind of older demographics. To mention some other findings, this one surprised me. A quarter of all kids aged 5 to 7 now own a smartphone, and also three-quarters of 5 to 7 year olds in the UK have access to a tablet. And social media is also becoming more and more popular with younger age groups, and social media use of 5 to 7 year olds went up 38% between 2024 and 2025. Not many people may know that the minimum age for many apps and platforms in the UK is 13 years old. And that's because the age of consent for sharing your data digitally in the UK is 13. So a lot of kids are either getting adults to log in on their behalf or they're lying about their age to get on these platforms. And that can mean they miss out on some important safety features that apps build in for teenagers. So Instagram, for instance, has a lot of extra safety settings if you're 13 up to 18. So if you're lying about that or using an adult's account, you miss out on some of the protections from those safety functions. Next slide, please. So what are the main online risks for children? Well, based on research and what we Scotland see being reported to us week in, week out, these have been identified as cyberbullying and harassment, non-consensual intimate image sharing, and online grooming. And online world, it can be really good for neurodivergent kids, but it can come with heightened risks as well due to conduct, contact, and content risks. So I'll just go through these one by one. So cyberbullying and harassment. So sadly, bullying has been part of young people's lives for going back hundreds of years. It used to stop at the school gate. That doesn't happen anymore. And with people being online, it's now eroded the sanctuary of safe spaces such as the childhood, the family home. And the kid could be at home, they get a notification on their phone or a text come through, and the bullying can continue long after the school day has ended. And cyberbullying and harassment, it can be defined as when a person bullies or harasses others on the internet or online platforms. And it can take various forms, such as posting rumors, making threats, making sexual remarks, or making private information public. But that's by no means an exhaustive list. There's not really a set of behaviours to identify that a child is being bullied, but hopefully you'll know your child best and what for them is maybe out with the ordinary. So just be there for them and make them aware that they can come to you and communicate with yourself if they are being bullied, or that could also get in touch with a trusted adult, such as a teacher, or there is organisations out there like Childline as well offer support to people who are being bullied online. Next, we have non-consensual intimate image sharing. And that is the act of sharing intimate images or videos of a person either on or offline without their consent. And this also includes things like we got cyber flashing, revenge porn, and more now we're seeing artificial intelligence being used to create deep fake nude images of people that are then being put online against their will. And what do we mean by intimate? When we say intimate, we mean um, nude images or sexualized images of the young person, images showing genitals, engaging in sexual activity or in states of undress. And Police Scotland, we do recognise this as a serious form of abuse, so it's really important if somebody's threatening to release intimate images of a young person or they have gone ahead and shared those intimate images, then please do report it to ourselves. It can also help to report it to the platform where those images are maybe posted, and the platform can look to take those images down from online. And then last of all, we've got grooming, and that's when an adult builds a relationship with a child or young person to sexually abuse them, to exploit them, or traffic them. And it can happen on or offline, and it can happen by a young person knows, or more so online by a complete stranger. It can be quite rare for a young person to tell you that they are being groomed. In fact, on many occasions they might not even be aware that it is happening to them. But again, if you get any concerns at all, please do get in touch with Police Scotland and we'll do our best to support you and help you with it. Next slide, please. Sextortion is a huge issue, not just in the UK, but across the globe. And sextortion incidents in Scotland went up 12% last year. And I do think a lot of kids don't report it. So that's maybe just the tip of the iceberg. The kids may be embarrassed it's happened to them, or often as well, they're quite scared of the scammers, the criminals who are committing the extortions, and they don't want to get the police involved for fear of repercussions. It's basically a form of online blackmail, and Police Scotland's definition is there on the slide. So, sexual extortion, which involves a threat of sharing sexual information, images or clips for financial or other gain from people, whether these images actually exist or not. It's usually conducted by adult criminals from overseas organized crime groups, and they will threaten to share nude or semi-nude images of the young person unless their demands are met. And there's two ways that this tends to happen. Um, the criminal will tend to be a fellow young person. They'll strike up a friendship with the victim. Things will move quite quickly, and the young person will then share intimate images or videos with the scammers, who will then start blackmailing them and making demands of them. The other way it can happen, although this is far more rare, is that criminals can hack into a young person's device or accounts and get intimate images of them, which are then used to blackmail them. Or we have seen now, the scammers are also using artificial intelligence to nudify a young person or make deep fakes of them in an intimate position, which they then again use to blackmail the young person. The criminal might demand money, gift cards, or cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin. And sometimes they'll ask for more extreme sexual content from the young person, or even on occasion, we've seen them take over a young person's bank account, which we then call a money mule. So they're looking to kind of launder money through the young person's bank account. To help prevent sextortion, it's really important that young people are aware of what it is and they're maybe aware of the indicators and warning signs. So they are aware that it's maybe happening to them and they can stop engaging with the criminals and go seek help from whoever it may be to give them that support. For many young people, sexual encounters with strangers online are now quite normalized, and it is a common thing we see with victims. It's not unusual for this to happen. Typical signs of an extortion may be that the person you meet is moving really, really fast. They're really quick to say they like you, really quick to try and build a relationship with you. They're very flirty. Very quickly, they're looking for sexual or indecent images. And it's quite common for the scammers to share indecent images with the victim first to make them feel safe and confident with doing the same. The scammers will often pressure you as well to do things you're not happy doing, such as sexual acts. And often as well, they'll kind of do a bit of social media research to identify a young person's contacts, which they can then use to kind of heighten the threat and leverage the kind of blackmail by saying, we know you're friends with this people, we know who your family are. And they can use that to kind of increase the threat and encourage a young person to kind of submit to their demands. Next slide, please. I'd just like to highlight this resource here. So Fearless, they're the youth chapter of Crimestoppers in Scotland, and they launched a campaign last year to combat online sextortion in Scotland. So this is just a short video from the Fearless Scotland manager, Lindsay McDade. If you could play it, please.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just jump in. I had some feedback there to say the Romeo and Juliet video had some sound problems there, so perhaps not everyone heard that, so apologies. So please do let me know if you can hear this. If you can let us know in the chat if you can't hear it, I suppose is the best way to do it. So here we go.
Our advice would be don't panic, don't pay or comply with whatever the criminal is wanting you to do, and get help. It doesn't matter whether it's the middle of the night, the people that are around you that love you want to be woken up. They wouldn't want you to be alone dealing with this. But I think over and above those sort of fundamental key messages, it's really important to make clear to our young people that, nothing is too embarrassing, nothing is too shameful or awkward or difficult. No matter what happens, you love them, you care for them, and you're absolutely in their corner.
Yeah, so just to reiterate what Lindsay is saying there, many young people, they might be scared they've committed a crime and they don't want to report it to Police Scotland, but that's absolutely not the case. They're the victim. We will treat their case confidentiality and in confidence, and we're here to try and get justice for them. It's important that young people understand that it's not their fault, they're not alone, and there is help out there for them. And it's well worth looking at Fearless's resources. So it's www.fearless.org. Next slide, please. So online gaming. Gaming is now one of the biggest entertainment mediums out there now, and it's really popular with both kids and adults. And it can be a great way for kids to make and maintain friendships and also spend time. Even if you're not a gamer, you've probably heard of some of the biggest games out there. So Minecraft, Roblox, and Fortnite. These are all games that have now entered the kind of public consciousness. So even if you're not a gamer, you will have heard of these titles. But online gaming, it can come with risks, bullying, and that include people being excluded from games as well as a form of bullying. Risks of trolling, that's when people deliberately harass others on a game. There's a lot of scams associated with games as well, and it can be quite easy to overspend or spend money just with the way certain games are set up. And there's also a real danger with contact from strangers on some online games. It can really help to show curiosity in the games that young people play, show an interest, understand how they work and what the risks may be. If you can, try playing their favorite games with them. That gives you a first-hand experience of how they work and lets you see what the risks may be. All games come with a PEGI rating, which is much like films. So with films, you've got PG, U, 12, 15, 18. Games have the same kind of rating system, which looks at the content and features, and you can make that judgment whether it's suitable for your child. Be wary of in-game purchases. A lot of games, business models now rely on you spending money once you have the game to buy skins or upgrades, new equipment, new credit. And if you don't have a kind of spending cap, the child can very quickly spend a lot of money on your credit or debit card if there's no password or caps linked to the game. Be wary of some games like Pokemon Go, which use GPS, and that can show the location of a child when they are playing the game, which has obvious safety concerns. So look at the game settings and see if you can limit the location sharing or turn it off completely. Also, be wary of communications features as well. Again, look at the settings. You can turn it off entirely on most games or limit it to trusted friends and contacts just to kind of limit that danger of strangers approaching or speaking to your child or young person. And last of all, make sure the child knows they can approach you if something happens online without fear of getting in trouble or losing access to their games immediately. That can then stop them reporting it to you if they fear they're going to lose access to the game. And I just highlighted some resources on the slide there that can help you. So internetmatters.org, they've got some really good in-depth guides for parents into popular games like Roblox and Minecraft. But there is thousands of games out there, and it would just be the case of doing your research into the individual game your child is playing, and the family gaming database is a good place to start. It's got a huge database of games that you can research, and it'll tell you what the safety concerns may be and what settings you can use to make the games that bit safer. Next slide, please. So digital platforms have made it easier for anyone to share information online. And that also means it's not always easy to tell what's real and what is false online. And when you think about all the content young people are exposed to on a daily basis, it's no wonder they sometimes find it hard to distinguish between what's true and what's false. Photos and videos can be edited, taken out of context, or completely fake. And nowadays with AI, it can be really easy to create a really convincing and realistic fake video or audio or image. You might have heard of the terms misinformation. So that's false information shared by accident, or disinformation. That's false information shared on purpose. And slide there shows some examples. So the Guardian slide, that was false information put out by anti-vaxxers, where they claimed a Guardian journalist had become very ill with COVID despite having numerous vaccines. It's totally false, and that journalist got a lot of mockery and grief as a result of this. And there's loads of examples of this. Content can show up as fake news stories, viral posts, deep fakes, or memes. And over time, it can cause real confusion and mistrust and even anxiety for a young person. There's also a vast array of online scams that young people can be targeted. And some common ones are phishing. That can be emails, phone calls, or texts that look like they're from a trusted organization, say a bank or a gaming platform that they use, but they're designed to steal the young person's either personal information or money. There's a lot of fake products or adverts. So last year there was quite a craze around Labubu toys, and there was lots and lots of fake adverts for fake Labubu toys. We got catfishing. That's when somebody pretends to be somebody they're not online, which kind of leads back into extortion that I mentioned earlier. There's a lot of fake competitions or quizzes, usually designed to get you to click on a malicious link or give away personal information. And then we've got identity theft. That's when scammers get enough personal information that they can take over an account or a device or an identity. There's also risk with online challenges. They can seem fun and harmless, and often that is the case, but sometimes they can be risky, especially if they involve dangerous stunts, and that can cause real physical or even psychological harm and really impact a young person's well-being. So to try and combat this, it's important young people develop critical thinking, that they question what they see online. If they can, they use more than one source to verify something is true. They think before they share something online, or they ask yourselves, is this okay to share? And they ask for help if something doesn't feel right online. It's not about stopping them being online. It's about giving them the confidence and the tools to navigate it safely and confidently. If you do come across a scam or a hoax or a risky online challenge, it can help to report it to the platform where you see it, and that can help get it taken down so another young person doesn't kind of see the same content as your child has. And if you or your child has been scammed online, then please report it to Police Scotland through 101, or you can use the contact us form on the Police Scotland website. Next slide, please. So artificial intelligence, I mentioned this last year in the presentation I did with Connect, and things have developed rapidly since then, and it's even more of a hot topic in the media. The reality is AI is not new. It's been around for decades, but it's a rise of generative AI that's made it such a hot topic. So that is AI that can produce content that only humans could produce previously. So text, videos, and images. And we've probably all either heard of or used generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot. They're quite common now and are out there for kind of public use. Young people, they're surrounded by AI already, and it's built into a lot of kind of toys they use, gaming platforms, recommendation systems. So Netflix, that uses a form of AI to recommend what series or movie you'd like to go and watch next. That's a form of AI. and it is changing the way we interact with technology. We're seeing AI chatbots that young people use, like Snap AI. There's a lot of homework apps now that use AI, image generators for creating images, and also recommendation systems as well. And like with any new technology, it will come with benefits and opportunities, but there also will be some real concerns around it. So it can reinforce bias, stereotypes, or harmful views. It can provide incorrect information or advice. It's only as good as the information it's got. Um, it can produce content that will not be appropriate for the child's age. It also, sadly, is being adopted by criminals and used for nefarious purposes. So they're creating fake or altered images of children, and we're seeing quite a lot of AI generated child sexual abuse material now. And it's very easy to do. You don't need to be an expert by any means. It's also been used for voice cloning. So we're seeing stuff like CEOs or finance directors' voices being cloned and then used to authorize large payments, and being used for bullying as well. All kinds of scams. So for phishing emails, it can be used to make them look more professional, tidy up the grammar and spelling, the layout, just make it a more convincing scam. And they're then being used to also extort money and information. Next slide, please. So the key thing with AI is not to panic, it's to stay informed and involved and learn about it. Discuss with a child how AI works, the importance of their privacy and what they share online, bias and why not everything AI produces should be taken as gospel. It should be challenged, and also be worth discussing how AI can be used for bullying and scams. I think it's quite good to try out AI together, and you can find out how it works and you can point out any kind of concerns that you have around it with a young person. Um, there is kind of tips you can use to spot kind of AI images that may be false. So parts of bodies may appear distorted or blurred or out of proportion. Movements may seem unnatural, or backgrounds might not be properly blurred. Although the technology is getting so much better, and this is getting a lot harder to spot, I must admit. Like all new technology, it's not good or bad, and there will be lots of positive ways that young people can use it. Support with learning, creativity, and problem solving, to name a few. It can be quite good with some kind of learning apps. It can help with spelling, and maths, and computer coding. And also, it can be quite intuitive, so it can understand how your child likes to learn and it can adapt to them, and it can challenge them sufficiently, or if it's too hard, it can reduce the difficulty level. So it can be really good as well from a learning perspective. I would say it's here to stay, and it's just going to become more and more a part of our lives. And I think for young people, it will be a huge part of their lives in the future. So it is important to kind of stay informed and keep up to date with it. Next slide, please. Keeping kids safe online doesn't mean you have to be an IT expert. One of the most effective tools we have to keep kids safe is to talk to them on a regular basis about what they're doing online, taking an interest in the apps, games, and devices that they use, just like you would do with any other aspects of parenting. It's less about controlling children and more about empowering them to make smart decisions online and giving them the tools to stay safe. There is a perception that if something happens to your child online, you've maybe failed as a parent, but that's not the case at all. Sadly, the likelihood is they will come across some kind of content online that could be harmful to them. But the key thing is that they've got the tool set and they know what to do if they do see that content and they feel confident coming to yourself or somebody else they trust to look for that help. I think an open and an honest approach works best. If you react without involving them, it can drive behavior underground, so then it's still happening you won't be aware it's going on. And in the future, a young person might be a bit more reticent in coming to you for help. In conjunction with having that conversation and keeping that dialogue open, it can help to use parental or well-being controls. They can play a useful role as well. These are tools that can manage screen time. They can block inappropriate content. They can mitigate against the risk contact from strangers and prevent accidental spending. However, I would say as kids get older, they can cause a bit of resentment. And kids are often far more advanced than us when it comes to technology, so they can often circumnavigate any controls we put in. So what I would say is the settings you have in place for a 5-year-old will not be relevant for a 16, 17-year-old. Should be a tailored approach. So gradually you kind of maybe reduce the settings as they get older and allow them to manage their kind of online lives themselves a bit more. A good place to start is your home Wi-Fi router, where you can block inappropriate websites. And all internet service providers will give you guidance on how you can do that through your Wi-Fi router. When it comes to individual apps and games, it's just going to be a case of doing the research on that application and seeing what safety settings are maybe there and what the concerns maybe are around that app or game. Finally, helping your child manage their digital footprint is important. Really basic advice, but make sure they have a strong and unique password. It's still one of the main ways that people fall victim online is through a weak or easily guessed password. Make sure their apps and devices are secure. Again, that stops any vulnerabilities that may be there that scammers can kind of leverage. And finally, for important accounts such as banking or email or social media, if you can have two-step verification there. So you need a password and then something else as well to verify your identity. So then even if your password is hacked, the scammer still can't get into that important bank account or email or social media. Next slide, please. So I'm now going to play quite a hard-hitting video on the dangers of oversharing online. This became a bit of a theme last year, parents oversharing, and it was termed sharenting in the media. Just before I play this video, just to warn you, it can be quite upsetting for some people, and it does contain a couple of profanities. So if you're on this call with young kids or you feel it may upset you, the video lasts roughly 2 minutes, 45 seconds. So feel free to drop out and then come back in afterwards. If you could press play.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. It's me, Ella. Well, a digital version of me, just a bit older. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? All you need are a couple of pictures, like the ones you share on social media, where they can be taken and used by everybody. I know for you, these pictures are just memories, but for others, they are data. And for me, maybe the beginning of a horrible future. Future where my identity is stolen, just like that. Where I can go to prison for things that I would never do. Imagine my credit score being destroyed, Dad. Or my voice copied to scam you, Mom. Mom, I'm in trouble. I need you to send me money, please. I don't want to become a meme, humiliated by everyone at school. Kill yourself, you
And I certainly don't want this. What you share online is like a digital footprint that will follow me around for the rest of my life. I'm telling you this because I know you love me and would never do anything to harm me. So please, Mom, please, Dad, protect my virtual privacy.
Yeah, so quite a hard hitting video there. So as parents, we need to be aware of the risks of oversharing when documenting children's milestones or lives online. Nowadays, it's common to have posts about birth announcements, first days at school, school sports days. And I get it. We're proud of our kids and we want to share it with the world. I do it myself. But we just need to be mindful. So a child's birth announcement, it could contain their full name, their date of birth, even their place of birth. And that's all information that could be valuable to scammers. Barclays Bank predict that by 2013, two-thirds of all identity thefts will be due to sharing things. So parents oversharing online their children's details. So it's just important to look after that information. Make sure your social media profiles settings are secure and got strong privacy in place. And make sure everybody who follows you, you're happy for them to see the content that you are posting. If there's any posts you don't feel happy about from the past, then by all means go ahead and delete them just for that peace of mind. Next slide, please. There are steps that you can take to protect your children and their data. To help combat online abuse, it's really important to manage our kids' data. And as they get older, they get the tools to do that themselves. So once they become an adult, they can look after their own digital footprint. So what is it? It's a trail of data left behind when we use the internet or digital devices. So for myself, I grew up with none or a very limited kind of digital footprint. But for kids nowadays, that's just not possible. It's part of their lives. It can be a very real concern, and it can have long-lasting implications for their future. So what develops a digital footprint? Basically anything that you do online. So emailing, social media, messenger, banking, dating, photo sharing, gaming, applications. This all adds to your digital footprint. Why should we care? Well, once you put something online, it's often there forever, and it's very easy to lose control of it. So don't make it easy for people to gain information about you. Make sure the online you doesn't make the real life you vulnerable. And friends online may not be who they say they are, and adding them to an online account can give them access to your personal information. I've had this myself. I've had friends on social media I've not seen since school 20 odd years ago. I don't know who they are now, no idea what they're up to. So why am I giving access to my data and my family's data? So what can we do? Well, promote positive digital hygiene and help kids understand how what they do online creates a digital footprint that can last forever. And it's really hard to keep things online private. Make sure kids think before they post and realize whatever they post, it could be viewed by thousands of people. That could include friends, neighbors, and family. And ill thought out posts can come back to haunt them years down the line when it comes to employment or educational opportunities. So it's a really good idea to look at kind of privacy settings and make sure they're quite strict. Encourage kids to be a good digital citizen and treat people online how they want to be treated themselves. We, as parents and adults, we need to maintain positive online behavior and be a good example for young people. They'll follow what they see us do online. And finally, if you are a kid, if you stop using a website or a social media platform, it's a good idea to disable it or better still, delete it entirely. Next slide, please. I'm quite conscious that's quite a whistle-stop tour of several kind of online safety topics, but I will share signposts and we connect to share with you all, which you can then go read up in your own time a bit more in depth on the various topics I've covered tonight. But this slide here, that shows some of the kind of best resources, in my opinion. So we've got the UK Safer Internet Centre, Parent Club, internetmatters.org, and Get Safe Online. They've got a wealth of information for parents and guardians and loads of good guides kind of looking after our kids. And finally, hopefully you never have to use this. But in the worst case scenario, there's a tool, Report Remove, and that's a tool for under 18s in the UK to confidentially report sexual images and videos of themselves and get those removed from the internet. So as I say, hopefully you don't have to use that, but if the worst case happens, that tool is available and it does work and it's got quite a good success rate. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, just like to say a big thank you to you all for listening to me tonight. I know you're all busy people, so I really appreciate you giving up your time tonight to come along and listen to myself. And I hope it's been of some benefit to you. And I'll hand over to Diane now for any questions that you might have for me, and I'll do my very best to answer those.
Thanks so much. Thank you. That was really powerful. We're all parents on this session tonight, so I think there has been some hard-hitting moments. I think when we saw that video, the stealing the children's identity video here at Connect at first, we really felt it. A couple of people in the chat are asking, is it possible to have access to that video? Is that something that is possible to share that video if parents were looking?
Yes, I believe it's actually on YouTube. It's issued by Deutsche Telekom, but I'll get the link and I can send it to yourselves that you can share with the attendees tonight.
That would be great. Yeah, since a couple of people are asking for it. Yeah, so there is, if you want, there is a bit of time if people want to ask some questions. So there's been a couple of comments saying this has been useful and helpful. So I suppose that's always good to hear. That's what we want to hear, that it has been helpful. I think it's certainly this sort of information session is always really thought-provoking. I think we'll all leave here thinking about what we do, and I think that's the intention from yourself, Ewan, is for us to have a think about it ourselves in our own houses, our own families, and perhaps within our wider communities, within schools, and perhaps other organisations that we are working within. One of the questions that was asked, it was kind of two questions quite earlier on. I think the person has left. I know Fiona has replied to them because it was quite a detailed, specific scenario about a school situation. But in some ways, it was two questions. One of them was about what if I'm doing my best at home, but there are problems in the school, and of course that there are problems in schools. We know about that. So there was some questions about how to manage that, and I know that you can't really answer that question because I guess that problems that happen in school are for the education authorities in the school and the parents and the carers and the families to come together to try and deal with and respond to and work out what is the best way within that community and that authority to manage those sort of problems. And I guess that you would also see that reporting concerns to the school, to the authority, and where appropriate the police is what you would do. I don't know, do you have anything extra to add about that, just in terms of what else can you do as a family member when you're trying your best to protect your child, but there are external factors that can still have that impact on your child in terms of access to content and different types of media?
No, I totally agree. The correct channel in the first instance would be to report it to kind of the schools and have that conversation there with the education authorities. If it does verge into criminality, Police Scotland are here to support you, but often that's not the case. And kind of these incidents at school, it's not really something we can get involved in.
Yeah, so the reporting through the school is the best
Yes.
and if you are concerned that crime's being committed, going through Police Scotland. Someone else is asking, is there a sort of equivalent version that we could let children watch? Because that is a bit hard hitting, and I know that this session we have targeted it for families, so it is for adults to watch and to think about, in particular, to help us, to support us, and have to think about what we're doing. Is there anything that I know Police Scotland do lots of work with schools, but is there anything that parents could show their children?
Yeah, we do a lot of work with schools. Police Scotland have got quite a network of campus officers who go into schools and do presentations such as this, but for children. Uh, some of the resources I'll share as well. They've got quite a good presentations that you can share with children, so I'll highlight those as well when I share those resources with you.
Thank you so much. That would be great. Someone's also asking, does Police Scotland have any guidance or advice or work that they're doing around sharing photos, like organisations that perhaps work with children, sharing photos on social media platforms or um, online platforms? Is there anything? Because obviously the concern being that anybody, if a picture's on an online website, then anybody really can get access to that if it's an open platform. Again, I don't know if that's one that Police Scotland can answer.
I think that's more at a government level. If it is, say, child sexual abuse material or images of that nature, Police Scotland do get involved to try and get that content removed from wherever it appears on the internet. And we do work with companies such as Meta and the like to try and do that. But it's more an issue for kind of government level, that kind of conversations.
Yeah, I mean, the person who raised this is saying like more organisations like schools. I think certainly there are more conversations happening in local authorities, and that's filtering down into schools about decisions about I think a lot of local authorities have taken a move away from X, for example, and so but these decisions do tend to be made locally at the local authority level, unless, as you say, there is some sort of legislation at the national level coming in. Just some comments about it being really thought provoking. There are some more and some recommendations. Someone's saying, is CEOP still a good resource? I'm not sure I know what that is. Do you know what that is, CEOP?
It's a child online exploitation protection centre. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, they are a good resource to look at, and they've got a lot of age specific content there for various different age groups from 5-year-olds right up to kind of late teens.
Brilliant. Someone's asking, is WhatsApp any safer regarding hackers? Any info on that?
Uh, it, it's meant to be encrypted, but if your phone is hacked, the hacker will still get access to the WhatsApp content on your phone. So I guess the answer is no. If your device is hacked, they can get access to your WhatsApp messages.
Yeah, they can still get in. Yep. And yeah, and there's a comment here, and I think this is quite a helpful comment as well. Like this has been useful for practical tools to safeguard. Really appreciate the police's balanced approach of highlighting the risk, identifying the tools that are there to support. So thanks so much. So I think that I think it's a challenge because I don't think there are concrete, dead set answers because social media is there, the online world is there, access to the online world is so easy, and it's not going away. So it is how do we move with the time? How do we balance that out? And I suppose the challenge is that as our children get older, it's how we navigate that with our child's development and their independence and what they're doing. So it is a very difficult balance to take. There's lots of questions now about other social media platforms.
Yeah.
Is Snapchat dangerous?
No app is inherently dangerous. It's whether you feel it's safe for your child and just do your research about that application, find out the various concerns, and often find out what settings can be used to maybe limit kind of risk of contact with strangers and issues like that. So it's just really a case. There's so many different apps out there as well. So there's not one size fits all. It's just a case of doing your research around the individual app.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just be mindful, check the kind of age recommendations for it as well to see if it's suitable for the age that your child is.
Someone's also posting Children First support line is brilliant for any parent and carer support as well. And I think the same person was also talking about the work of the Children's Parliament, and they posted a link to specific work led and centrally involved with children about AI. So that might be something for the link was in the chat there for people to have a look at too. If I've missed your question, pop it in the chat. Now, what about Picture P? I've never heard of that either. Do you know about that, Picture P?
That's a new one of me. Every day's a school day, so no, I'll need to go up and research that myself.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
The media just evolves so quickly, so I've never heard of that one. Oh, sorry, the person, right, sorry, it meant to ask pictures that are posted as a reel, then disappear after 24 hours. Yeah, I think that there might be a view that these sort of disappearing posts might be harder for people to sort of like maybe get access to. I don't know if that is the case or not. Do you know?
There's often ways round where people can screenshot what they maybe see in a reel, and
Yeah.
then that can be shared far and wide. So I don't think it's as safe as people maybe realize. It disappears, but you don't know who's maybe screenshotted it or managed to obtain that content and where it might end up.
This is the thing. There's a way to sort of pause
Yeah,
these things and stop them, and still expand the image to be able to see
yeah.
some more things.
And kids can be quite ingenious as well. They found way around things as we all know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we've got to 9 o'clock so quickly again. It's felt like a really useful session, certainly looking at the comments, the feedback and the questions. And people are still saying thanks. It's been really useful. I think it is such a difficult topic, and I think, for all of us parents and carers, it's trying not to, be too hard on ourselves. We're trying our best, and I think that's what you can do. Try to create supportive networks for parents and families within communities, helping one another. So, I mean, we're all about supporting parent councils and school communities. So that might be a route to try and be supportive. Nobody wants to be, judging or shaming people. It's about helping, support, empowering, giving information. So, and I know that Police Scotland do go into schools and chat, and there's all these organisations. So there might be a route out to looking at these organisations for parents and carers. If a parent council, that might be a route to go down. But I think I do need to round it up now. It's hit 9 o'clock, and I know that people will have things to do. I'm really, really appreciative of everybody coming along tonight. Great questions. We always do learn here at Connect as well. We're always learning from all the people that turn up to our sessions as well. So just want to say thanks. But I want to say a final thank you to Detective Constable Ewan Ross for coming along this evening, joining us, recognising how sensitive and challenging this topic is. We do appreciate your expertise and your knowledge and the information you shared tonight. If you give us additional information, we will pass it on to everybody who has attended this evening, along with the PowerPoint presentation slides. But with that, I'll say good night to everybody. And